Alrighty, welcome back. This is Jonathan Alvin. This is NycosRPG, and this is Game Master's Toolbox. And today, this is our second section of our show. And today, we're going to be talking about the elements of a great ghost story. If you are in the season of the witch, so to speak, as we're coming up on the great holiday of Halloween, if you call that a great holiday. If you're afraid of it, then that even makes it spookier and scarier, I suppose. But many people like to do special events during this time of year, and I thought I would give an outline on how to tell a great ghost story. And of course, they're usable at any time during the year. They're also particularly good at Christmas time. I tend to find myself running special events at both Halloween and Christmas, as well as sometimes at other days during the year. But I want to talk today about the secrets of a great ghost story. Now, any game session requires some prep, and game masters, when you've been playing for a long time, perhaps you've gotten into the pattern of being able to sort of phone it in. You play the same kind of game every week, and the players are having a good time or whatever. But if you want to spice it up and raise your game to the next level, then consider doing a specialty event like this one. Now, in this case, you want to make sure you schedule your event well enough in advance. Now, we're basically 2 weeks out from All Hallows Eve, and so getting prepped for that adventure, whether you're going to run it on a weekday or a weeknight, you have to take that into account. But you definitely want to schedule well enough in advance so that you can be properly prepared for it. Now, the things I'm going to recommend don't take that much time to actually pursue the development, so you should be able to accomplish it. But in the case of some really big extravaganza, you may want to take more than a couple of weeks to get set up. Mainly, you have to also remember you need to have some element of promotion so you can make sure that your players will make it to that event. Generally speaking, when you've done a lot of work to put something together like a special event, it's best if you can make sure you've got a fair complement of players. Now, if your group always plays on a certain day of the week and they're always there, then you don't have to do so much. But if you are like I am, I've got groups that do an accordion. Some weeks we're really small and we've got 3 and 4 players, and other times we're really expansive, and I have maybe 13 or 14 players. Well, if you're going to build that, then you have to also devise a compelling mystery, usually. Ghost stories are really good if you use some kind of unsolved mystery that the players can pursue the solution. They can try to decide what is going on, and many of your clues will come out in the game, but if you give them kind of a nice prelim in your introductive materials, when you provide a compelling teaser for them, you're able to give them just insight about what the story is going to be, the kinds of nemesis and villains they might run into. Maybe not. Maybe you're like me and you like to hold a mystery back, but by giving them something to chew on, so to speak, just in my case, I just simply say Halloween adventure, and that draws people out of the woodwork. I've had as many as 22 people show up for one of my holiday events, and so that can be pretty crazy. Now, if you're going to do it at that level, you want to create 1 or 2 serious physical props that'll help you sell the story. We went over just recently in our previous video tonight, the earlier half of the show, we went over what you need to make a great story regardless of the genre. And one of the things I said in there is to make sure that you do your homework and get some background on the setting and the language patterns and such like for that session. Well, that's the same here. You want to create some props, maybe a note from a loved one, or maybe a death note if it's a murder mystery or whatever. These really help to sell the story and give the players the grit, the value of that great ghost story that you're telling. And that means you also need to take into account maybe the ambiance. You want to check for your setting and the lighting and the materials. I have a couple of software recommendations I can offer. I tend to provide those via Discord after the shows because it's some of them are proprietary and such like. But the idea is that you get some enhancements to the game. You maybe, for example, the game store I go to has a room where you can control the lighting, so you can give it lightning flashes, or you can give it the dwindling light of candlelight or torches and whatever. And it really kind of helps to sell the experience. Other ways of doing it would be soundtracks, recordings. There are some really great companies out there. The one I will mention over and over again is a company called Midnight Syndicate. Their music is amazing, and it is definitely ambiance filling. It's definitely, they have a variety of entire albums that cover genres, so you can put them on and set it, forget it, and it'll play scary music, emotion driving music in the background. And it's amazing how you can, as a game master, kind of subconsciously play into that if you're familiar enough with the music you have on to actually have dramatic things happen right at the moment when there's a crash of a cymbal or a flash of light or whatever. And the idea, therefore, is you're able to build an ambiance. Now, for some people, especially near Halloween, they like to incorporate costuming. And so make sure that if you're going to do a story-based game that's going to be set in a certain period or with a certain theme, that you suggest costumes to match the theme so that your player isn't there in a Pokemon, rubber mask trying to talk through it when that's not even the setting. So just suggest some ideas about costumes, some themes about the story so that the players can kind of feed into that. When you do it that way, when you're able to provide it in advance, then everybody shows up in costume. The suspension of disbelief is very much enhanced because now everybody is into it because they look the part. And this applies also even to the snacks, foods, and beverages. If you're going to have such, recommend some that you would like to see brought. If you're going to have others help you host. On the other hand, make sure that you provide it well in advance. One of my favorite examples is we had a game where we were actually pursuing an undead beholder, and so one of the snacks we provided were peeled grapes that had been we used kind of a yellowish food dye, which made them kind of a sickly color, and then we put just a drop of deep blue dye on there so that it created the pupil eyeball thing on every one of the grapes, and of course made you not really want to scoop into that, but then again it was the perfect context and texture of the food to make the show really feel exciting. That game was really a thrill. So just think about what snacks, what kind of beverages, if you're doing a something that has to do with a tavern or bar, certainly different kinds of brews. If it's an adult themed game and you're playing just grown-ups, then why not bring some actual beers and things like that, serve in mugs and things like that. And among all these other things, one of the things that really incredibly surprisingly will sell your game is practice your intro. Whatever it is you're going to tell them as the preamble to the game, make sure you have the description down to the details, that they almost are feeling it. And if you can, figure out one voice fixture, one vocal pattern that you're going to keep coming back to. Perhaps it's an NPC that's warning them, or the undead narrator, the sightless, the unseen voice that talks to them during the session. Make sure you work on these so that every delivery will come off as part of the story and therefore amplify the effect. If you put all of these together, your game session is going to be absolutely fantastic, and the players are going to be craving more like that. And the downside of course of that is that the thrill of these large events will draw more players to your game and will make people tell their friends about how much fun it was to play in this much larger ambiance game. So that's the keys to The Secret of a Great Ghost Story. Now we're coming up on another commercial break here in a bit, and I want to get out of here before then. If you do want to have a conversation with me, you can of course make sure to follow this channel on Twitch, twitch.tv/NycosRPG. We're on every night at 11 p.m. Pacific, and I bring something in the roleplay environment, and I bring it to various channels, so you'll want to keep track of when we're doing that. So make sure you like and follow. In addition, if you like what you're seeing here, you can also check out my YouTube page, which is also at NycosRPG, and it has tons and tons of videos that include my group games that I started with 2 or 3 years ago, pre-COVID, and also a lot of audio sessions that were recorded during that period of the COVID situation. And also, I do news updates on what's going on in the game world right now so that you have an idea of what kind of stories you want to be involved with. Now, if you are interested in visiting and playing in a live game, I am live every Monday and Tuesday night at Board Game Paradise in Redlands, California. And I would dearly love to see you. Right now on Monday, for example, I have a regular who drives almost 55 miles every session on Mondays to play. And she drives all the way from Anaheim. So if you're in the Southern California area, it's totally manageable to get to Redlands, California. The name of the game store is Board Game Paradise. And they are found on the web as well, boardgameparadise.com. And they've got all the social media as well. And we are there Mondays and Tuesdays from 6 p.m. until close. They are two separate campaigns in the same world contemporaneously. So theoretically, we may eventually have crossover episodes and all kinds of fun like that as the groups go from location to location on the world of Nykos. For more information on Nykos as well, you can check out our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Nykos. And I've probably song and danced myself enough. We're coming up on the commercials. I will see you again next time. I'm Jonathan Albin, NycosRPG, and this has been Game Master